The flower blooming deep within the wetlands is a brilliant blue. A splash of color with a gentle movement. Queenie reaches out a hand to pick it. Suddenly, the ground beneath the blossom swells upward, and a huge monster shows itself. Battle is upon you. Magnificent. Teamwork makes the dream work. magnificent. The sound of Blight's lightning attack rips through the rainy bog, striking the monster dead on. Its carapace pierced, the monster sinks back into the swampy muck. Stillness, the onyx maiden, takes the blue flower gently in hand. She explains that this flower is actually a medicinal herb called clockweed. Apparently, it is used to heal wounds, and is even said to turn back time for the human body. Sensing another monster fixing its gaze upon your party, you lead everyone back to the village. All the while, you find your attention drawn to the maiden's murmuring, drowned out though it is by the sound of the rain. This flower, buy more time. Don't hold back. Congrats. You've found a shipwreck. As you climb on deck, you spy someone else who evidently he stands anguished in front of a door he claims leads to the treasure hold. He tells you that he can't locate the lever responsible. If only I had some sort of stick or something that fit perfectly into the slot where the lever. The man is searching around for something he can use to replace the lever that operates the. You decide that if you come across a stick or rod that could help open the door, you'll come back and give it to the man. In the meantime, you bid him farewell. As you enter the village, a number of the locals rush your group, shouting, "Welcome back, dear Maiden." The villagers express their gratitude for her monster hunting, as well as their delight at the Maiden's safe return. The Onyx Maiden, bringer of hope to the village, appears to be quite beloved by its people. Once the villagers are out of earshot, you once again ask the Onyx Maiden to borrow her Maiden's relic. She is at a loss for a few moments, but then informs you that she has something she'd like to show you. She guides you to the Maiden's shrine. My word, if those monsters were to attack the village. The mayor looks out over the wetlands, muttering worst-case scenarios to himself. I shall allow you to borrow my relic, the Onyx Maiden says, rendering you. She continues on, revealing that she is actually trying to abandon her maidenly duty. But as far as you can tell, she seems to be giving her all for the sake of the village. Why then does she want to quit? If she fulfills her mission, the island will be protected. Is there something even more important? As if to answer your question, Queenie slowly closes her eyes. And then, when the light subsides and your eyes regain focus, you see Queenie, and there is a bulge in her abdomen. The Onyx Maiden is pregnant. She explains that she's been using medicine made from the clockweed to keep her pregnancy hidden all this time. She has dedicated her life entirely to the protection of this island and performing, but giving birth means her child too will be burdened with the same destiny of sacrifice. She wants to protect her child. That is her only wish, and she conveys it to you with all the agony of you can appreciate now why the Onyx Maiden wishes to abandon her duty. But will the villagers accept her decision? Queenie's anguish is plain to see as she runs a gentle hand over her stomach. It is not hard to imagine who the father of this soon-to-be-born child is. The anguished cries of the maiden, the last hope of a village facing oblivion, echo out in pain. The Onyx Maiden is laid upon a bed in the Maiden's shrine. Word of her condition spreads, and the villagers are unable to hide their agitation. All this time you have spent crossing the islands, Laddie has desperately sought to become a maid, but now, having heard that Queenie wishes to abandon her own duty, she seems conflicted. The attendant divulges a little of the Onyx Maiden's feelings toward the impending birth. Over the long years of their relationship, stretching back to their childhood, through all that, never has she wished for anything except a safe birth for her child, whatever it takes. It seems that all the while Queenie used the clockweed to keep her condition secret, the child in her belly kept growing. Suddenly, the door bursts open, and the village mayor enters the shrine, gasping for the monsters of the wetlands are amassing for an attack on the village. Fighting them off with Queenie confined to bed will be next to impossible. Your group decides to head into the wetlands and launch a preemptive strike on the fiend's nest where they're gathering. The rain falls in sheets. You spy the telltale signs of monsters between the drops. Blight's eyes shine, and you can tell he wishes for nothing more than to protect his maiden. You forge onward through the wetlands to where they gather, at a place called the Fiend's Nest. You come upon a thronging nest of monsters. Every monster in the place has its eyes fixed firmly upon the intruders. That is, you. They roar in unison and begin to march forth. Their destination, the village, is in grave danger. You mustn't let a single one of these beasts escape. You grip your weapon tight, ready to do battle. Oh boy, don't let a single one escape. A monster lurking in the depths of the nest rears back, its massive bulk puffing up as it inhales deeply. It looks like it's getting ready to do something, and whatever it is will be headed your way. You and your comrades stand firm in the face of the monster, readying your weapons. Magnificent. The hulking beast bellows a blast of burning flame in your direction. Whoa, danger everywhere you look. You gonna be able to handle this? Fight him off. Show 'em what you got.
Excellent.
Perhaps deciding that the ones slaying its kin are a threat. At the same moment, more monsters appear from the shadows of the wetlands and begin moving toward. No matter how many enemies there are, you must stop their advance to the village. You and your comrades take deep breaths and prepare yourselves to face the monsters once more.
Magnificent.
You did great. You did great. The Nest Master's monstrous bulk trembles as it menaces your party. Steel yourselves, says Blight. As if in defiance of his determination, the massive fiend lets loose a terrible roar. You've come this far. Magnificent. Magnificent. After a fierce battle, the great fiend finally collapses to the wet earth at the death of their leader. The other monsters lurking about all withdraw at once. Marvelous. You have managed to save Fenmos from the danger it faced. In the deep reaches of the fiend's nest, there is an altar where the maidens tucked away in the shadows behind it. There is an egg. Perhaps the giant beast was protecting this. Any monster one day born from this egg could well pose new danger. But you decide to let it be and leave the area. The village's crisis is averted. You and your friends make your way back to Fenmos to check in on Queenie. No sooner do you pass the threshold back into town than do the villagers surround you as though welcoming home great heroes. You inform the mayor that you've wiped out all the monsters, and though he seems momentarily delighted at the news, he also seems terribly flustered. This isn't the time for that now. You start to worry that some monsters may have escaped the nest and made their way here. A village woman comes running and barks angrily at the assemblage. She explains that Queenie is going into labor, which might explain the men's panic at what they ought to be doing. The woman points at Laddie. You there, come along and help. Without waiting for a reply to her demand, the woman, difficult though it may be right now, all you can do is pray for Queenie and the child's safe delivery. Guess all we can do is wait, says the man regretfully. Blight is restless, his mind clearly abuzz with worry for Queenie. Queenie's voice echoes out of the Maiden shrine. You hope she can endure the pain. The mayor gazes out at the swampy surroundings, murmuring to himself. To think that the entire village would come together for the sake. He looks as though not doing anything makes him uneasy, and busies himself giving bits of food to the bird perched atop his rucksack. A baby's cry cuts through the silence, breaking the village from its tense reverie. Time faster than you can let loose a sigh of relief. Blight takes off in the direction of the Maiden shrine. The baby's here. You rush after the amative attendant to the Maiden shrine. The newborn's cries echo through the maiden shrine. The villagers present for the birth have weary but happy expressions on their faces, and they wipe the sweat from their brows. Blight asks timidly, Is the baby? A young woman hands him a cloth-wrapped bundle. Perhaps because he has finally felt the weight of his own child in his arms. Blight's expression cracks, and he begins to weep. Overcome, such a relief, he says. He repeats himself several times as he walks over to Queenie and shows her the child's face. As though having just fought a fierce battle, Queenie's face is lined with exhaustion and covered in sweat. Though her expression is somewhat pained, she looks at her child with a smile of deepest affection. The Onyx Maiden and her attendant have named the child Melanie, a word from the language of spirits, meaning eternal happiness. With a tear-stained face, Queenie gently inclines her head to her exuberant attendant. But then the strength seems to seep out of her. With those final words to her two most beloved, the Onyx Maiden's eyes close for the last time. With its only maiden lost, this island is surely destined for ruin. As you prepare to sail away, you notice that the island is submerged just a bit more than it had been when you almost as though the ocean is trying to swallow it up, now that it's bereft of its maiden. When you part ways, Blight hands the now useless maiden's relic over to you. You are hesitant to accept, thinking he might want to keep it as a memento of his beloved. Only when he insists, saying, "Don't." The Onyx attendant then heads homeward, vowing to make Melanie's life a happy one. Monsters run rampant across the sinking lands. The people of Fenmos remain beset by numerous hardships. From aboard your ship, you watch the East Isle shrink into the distance. Eternal happiness. You pray that is what their future holds. You have finally gathered the 4 relics, one from each of the maidens you have met on your journey. Laddie's maiden preparations are complete, and Lack celebrates by twirling in the air. The time has come to see your mission fulfilled. You make your way to the Spirit Spire in hopes of saving your home.